I just want y'all to know Charles is late because he just walked in the house.
We should be live now.
I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Asia, if you would not mind doing roll call for me.
Okay.
We good, Asia?
No. We're good.
Thank you, Asia. Can we get approval of the minutes? If someone can make a motion. Someone say something.
I motion to make a move for the minutes.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. For the agenda, I did have to make one amendment. Milan will be speaking tonight as one of our guests. So if we can get an approval for the updated agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move into our first guest of the night, which is Kelly Thomas, who is advisor for first year at the G. You can go ahead and start sharing your screen whenever you're ready.
Can you all see that? Perfect. Okay. Thank you all for letting me come and speak tonight at your meeting. So I'm going to be speaking about First G at the G. It's an initiative that was started 2 years ago, and I serve in the Office of Housing and Residence Life as a coordinator for Residence Life. So to start off, like I said, coordinator for Residence Life, I'm over in Moorstrong Residence Hall. I've been a coordinator with HRL for 5 years. I'm also a first generation college graduate, and I was unaware of that I was a first generation college student until graduate school, when I understood what that meant and the identity. So what we're going by here at UNCG is the federal definition is that neither your parent nor guardian has graduated from a 4-year institution. So I'm also, like I said, the founder of First G at the G, and I'm going to tell you why. So basically the idea, I have a passion for first-gen students, kind of giving back to those who are just like me at colleges and universities. And I attended USC, which is the University of South Carolina Institute on First-Gen Student Success, or college students, sorry. And then it's through NASPA, Center for First-Gen Student Success, and they do a celebration day on November 8th nationally, all across the country. And I learned more about how to support students at the university level and what we can do, and also kind of what UNCG was doing as well for our students at that time. And I also had supervisor support. My supervisor at the time was Shelly Wald. She also works in the Dean of Students office now, but she also supports this initiative too. So according to statistics, 42% of our UNCG students have reported their first generation college students. And this is from the Office of Institutional Research from 2019. And there is also the federal definition. So that is based on the federal definition, that's the 42%. So in 2018 is the first year we did this. You can see on the right-hand side there, that's the flyer that we use. It also shows the different departments. So we had partnered with McNair Program, Spartan Startup, Student Support Services like TRIO, and then also UNCG Guarantee. That was on the academic side of the house. And on the student affairs side, we had Housing and Residence Life, Office of Leadership and Civic Engagement, and as well as the Office of Intercultural Engagement. So you can see that we had the week from the 5th to the 8th that year. So we got to include the celebration day. Each department was given one day. So we emphasize, especially on day on November 8th, because that was the celebration day. So we invited the provost to come. She was unable to come, but she sent us a video that we share with students. We also had a student panel that was filled with students, undergrad, graduate, faculty, and staff. So students got to participate and see different perspectives there as well, and see who all supports first generation, who also shares that background as well. We also gave some raffle prizes and basically financial costs and support. We don't have a budget for this. We still don't have a budget for this initiative. So it's based on what we can get from grants and what we can get from other people in other departments. There was a lot of support for this program and this initiative from a lot of people across the university. Also with marketing, we worked with our internal marketing person who works in our office, who created this lovely flyer. And we also created an email database because we wanted to start to create a reach out where we could reach out to undergraduate students as well, all the way up to faculty, so we can kind of make those connections. Here's some assessment data for those who love assessment because it's very important for sure. So basically it shows on there the class ranking. We had 39% were our sophomores, juniors were 28%, and seniors were 11%, freshmen were 22%. So it was interesting to see that we were hitting a lot of upperclassmen students instead of just typically our first year students. 88.9% of these students were first generation based on that federal definition. We asked them on a scale of 1 to 5 for the enjoyment of the event. 77.8% ranked the event at a 5 and 22.2% ranked at a 4. No one had ranked below a 4, which was great to see. And then 100% of students stated that they would attend the event again in the future. So based on that data, here's some pictures from the first year, a couple different things. You may see some familiar faces on there as well. So based on that data, we continued into 2019. So we actually got a Division of Student Affairs Innovation grant. We had to apply for this, and it was only one of 3 grants that were given. So we were given that grant. So there's a flyer there for what we did last year, and as well as we gave back to students with $250 book scholarships. We were able to give those to 3 students. It was actually cool because working with the bookstore, they actually gave once they sponsored 1 student. So we got to support 2 students through us, and the bookstore supported another one. So we got to give it to 3 students. And also for marketing that year, we have buttons that have that First G logo on them. We had some fanny packs that we got. We did some yard signs that had different quotes on them, had the percentage, had the social media to follow us and follow the group. We had a big like pull-up banner. We also have an Instagram page that's it's at UNCG1STG. So that's where you can find some more info about that. And then we also got the Division of Student Affairs gave us a website. So it's at sa.uncg.edu/firstg. And I can share these later too. And Austin or whoever's taking minutes can also share those out. Also our assessment again for this year, there's ethnicity on there on the side as a visual. So you can see that 43% of our students were Black or African American. We had 31% that were white and 26% that were Hispanic. And we also have the class standing there. So we hit some more first year students, but still our sophomores and juniors were on there as a higher percentage. So that was still good to see. 173 students attended events throughout the week. So this could be 1 student could attended all of the events. So I know sometimes that looks like a smaller number, but they could attend multiple things. So 70% of the attendees were female or identified as female. And then this was an interesting statistic that we saw was 49% of our attendees were commuter students and 48 were residential students. So it was nice to see that we were hitting students not only living on campus, but also living off campus. We got all this data from Spartan Connect. So here's some scholarship winners. You may see a familiar face on there. Irving was one of our winners, and then he is obviously was a junior last year, not anymore. Jose was also a freshman, and we also gave Roweda. Roweda also is a freshman, so hers is like a video. I can have it play. So these students, they were asked kind of the question of what did the book scholarship do for you? How was it helpful for you as a first generation student while here at UNCG? So it was nice to see the faces of the people that received this and knowing that they were able to help them. These are also displayed on that website that I shared about. If anyone wasn't able to hear that, it's on that website. So definitely I can share that link again and you can go on the website and see Rose's video. I didn't know how the connect would be. Whoop. Okay, here's some more pictures just from last year, a couple of different things that were happening. I'm a visual person, so it's nice to see how everything looked and how everything was going last year. And also these are some campus partner quotes. So Shelly Walds is there at the top, kind of just working with her. And then also Emily DeRoma, who works in our TRIO programs. We work with a lot of different campus partners, which is super great. A lot of them are very supportive and continue the efforts every single year. So basically all I do at the end of the fiscal year, I kind of ask them like, hey, we're going to do this initiative again. Do you want to continue? Is there anybody else we should be including? So the group can get pretty large, but it's great to see that support definitely from our campus partners. Here's also some student quotes as well. So we have one who's a current McNair scholar. We had one who was a resident advisor, and then we also had the president of First G organization. So I think it's really important to get quotes from the students as well and kind of see how that's impacting them, even if they weren't just like the book scholarship winners. It also shows other things that this impacts for first gen students. And then basically moving forward, so we're planning right now, First G at the G for 2020. So obviously this will look more virtual just for COVID and for safety measures. So it's happening November 2nd through the 5th, which is in about 2 weeks. And we're having a couple of different events that are happening. So we're having one day, which is connecting with the First G student group. Another one is helping TRIO and SSS celebrate their 50th anniversary this year. And also Minerva Midday through CAP is doing a kind of bingo giveaway. And then we're gonna have a panel on the 5th. It's gonna include 3 current undergraduate students, a graduate student, a staff member, and a faculty member. So it's gonna be great to have that. And then for recognition, we actually got recognized right in the beginning of the semester by the Division of Student Affairs. There's a committee for first gen student success, and it was open to a lot of people outside of student affairs. So that was great to see. We haven't met as a committee yet, but we'll be meeting this week. So they know like this is happening and the support we can get from them as well. So we also are a first gen forward institution through the National Association for Student Professionals. Basically, this is the nation's first, I wrote it down just to make sure, the nation's first recognition program acknowledging higher ed institutions for their commitment to first gen student success. So we're basically sitting alongside A&T is also part of that. Central is also part of that. So we're kind of sitting in a big cohort where we meet monthly and talk about things we're doing on our campus, what other people are doing, and how we can continue our support of our first gen students across the board. We also have a First G student org. I also serve as the advisor for that. It's rather young organization, so it started before I worked here, and it kind of has dwindled a little bit down, and we're trying to get it back up. But we created some more identity for that and some more involvement, but we're still kind of getting that jump start off the ground again with some involvement. I also applied for an educational grant this past year. So that is a southeastern Atlantic Housing Officers Conference that I got a grant for. So we're using that money this year. And then we also were able to get a presentation at SOAR. So in summer 2019, we had one session. There's a breakout session for family and students to go to. They heard from current students. And also last summer, they did a couple more sessions that talked about all the advantages that first-gen students can have while at the university. And then basically for SGA partnership, we're looking, I was talking with Irving about this in general because he's helped me out with this event. So we're just looking for like student support from you all. We're looking at like painting the rock. That's a good advertising piece. That's a good tradition on our campus to continue. We're also looking at helping with some tabling since our first-gen student organization, a lot of our officers have already graduated. We only really have our president right now. We do have students that are continuously adding themselves to the Spartan Connect and adding themselves to the student group. We haven't really jump-started anything. We will not do that until the spring semester. So we're looking at help for that from you all. And then also just spreading awareness, kind of that peer-to-peer. I know it's harder now because a lot of y'all don't have face-to-face classes, but anything virtual, anything can help with that. Friends, anything. Social media as well, because you all have a large presence on this campus, being SGA, being awesome leaders in a lot of different things. And then also I have First G buttons that I can share with you all too. And we always encourage wearing those around. And you can definitely wear them up on the week, or you can also put them on your backpack and things like that. But I definitely have those and can get those to Austin, who can share those with you as well. But that is all. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but that is my information there. And thank you, Milan, for putting in the website. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Irving, did you have a question?
Yeah, it's just a statement. If anyone wants to help with tabling or painting the rock, I'm going to send out a sign-up sheet in the chat soon.
Thank you, Irving. Does anyone else have any questions for Kelly while she's here? If so, just put an X in the chat. Jesse.
Yes, I was just going to say what was echoed in the chat, but just thank you so much for coming and just sharing this information, like both with us and like the students on YouTube.
Of course, thank you for letting me come to your meeting.
We all definitely do appreciate you coming, Kelly. As you see in the group chat, I don't know if you can see it, but everyone's definitely appreciative. I don't think anyone else has any questions for you, so I do appreciate your time once again.
Yes, thank you so much. Like I said, thank you for sitting through the presentation, learning more. If you all have any other questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and also feel free to call my office. But Austin's one of my RAs, so if you can't reach me or need anything, you can definitely reach out. And Irving used to be one, and Jesse, all these people know. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. But thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Kelly. You as well. All right, moving into our next guest speaker, we have Sean McInnes. He's from UNCG Sustainability Office. He's a specialist. So Sean, if you'd like to go ahead and start sharing your screen if you have a presentation, or otherwise.
Yeah, I'll share my, thanks, Ali, I appreciate it. I'll share my screen in a minute. I just wanted to first thank Austin and Corinne for inviting me. I definitely recognize a number of faces here in the meeting. Cameron, hello, and well, Meredith and Kelly, and I'm trying to see who else have I worked with. Tiana, Nicolette, I remember I met at RHA. It's great to see y'all again. I really appreciate seeing y'all and meeting new people today and being here. Yeah, if you don't know me, I'm Sean McInnes. I'm the university's sustainability specialist. You've probably seen my office when you've come over to eat in the cafeteria. I'm right next to the mail room. My door is always metaphorically open. If you want, I keep it closed, but I am working on campus. So if you're around, you want to stop in and ask me some questions, just knock and come on in. I'm happy to meet with you. I'm really here today to talk to you and ask you for your participation in a couple surveys that we have going on campus. And let you know that there is also a new mobile app option on the sustainability mobile app. So if you go to your, you can get it out, you can look at it now if you want. On the student persona, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, location, 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 right? And you'll see a little recycling triangle for the recycling for sustainability. And it looks a little bit, I'm trying to see if I didn't put together a PowerPoint, but you'll see something that looks like this. And you can pick out recycling. You can see a recycling guide, some links to some things that are happening on sustainable housing in the residence halls, our green fund. It's basically your one-stop shop for all things sustainability on campus. And I just wanted to make you aware of that. But the main thing I'm here to talk to you about is the Green Room certification program and the and the commuter survey that we also have going on. So you can link to that via the app. It's also on the website under Go Green here at the top. You can click on Green Room. So it's a program. You take a quick survey. It takes about 5 minutes. It provides you links to the recycling guide. It asks you some questions and gives you tips about water conservation, electricity conservation, transportation options that you have. It's kind of a how to live sustainably in the dorms. So you get an email after you complete it about that provides information about healthy products that you can buy that are so they don't have sodium lauryl sulfate, which is a pollutant, and all kinds of stuff. Now, the reason why I asked this is I went to the RHA the other day and talked to them, and maybe Nicolette can confirm. I don't know if they voted or, but they might be offering Spirit points if you if live in the dorms and you participate in this. And then I am also giving away some goodies. So bought some stuff at the bookstore. We've got some books by Greta Thunberg, giving away some Burt's Bees stuff. We've got a multi-tool. These t-shirts here are made from recycled plastic that's actually manufactured right here in Greensboro by a company named Reprieve. And this is all stuff that you can buy in the bookstore too. But if you participate, you've got a chance to enter a raffle. Sorry, I thought there was more than one picture here. Again, look for this logo on the app, or you can link to the website. And I already accidentally shared that earlier when I was prepping for my comments. The other thing I really need you to help participate in is the commuter survey. And you can do this even if you live on campus, because it asks questions about, or it allows you to provide feedback on transportation systems and infrastructure on campus and in the community. So if you ride the Spartan Chariot, if you use the Lime scooters, if you ride a bicycle, if you walk to campus, if you bus, if you carpool, all those things, there's opportunity for you to provide feedback. So it's not just for people who are driving to campus every day or every other day for classes. Please, even if you live in the dorms, I really want you to take that. So there's that. It's an opportunity for community involvement and community engagement. I will see your answers. Your answers will also be presented to the Sustainability Council. Corinne is your representative from SGA on the council. She's there to represent you and to provide feedback from what we're talking about on the council. And then there's a large number of faculty and staff members who are also on that council. And the more participation we get from the students, the more we can show the leaders in upper administration that you guys care about these things and that you want to be engaged citizens on, well, I know you already are engaged citizens, but that you particularly want to be engaged about sustainability issues on campus. And then I think it's also a really great opportunity for me to share your participation and uplift that story and your involvement in this, particularly with the Green Room Survey. I can, I can talk to the chancellor. I can talk to, Tim in Housing and Residence Life and say, this has been a great program. We've gotten really good responses from this. The students really care about these things. Here's some of their practices. Here are things that they weren't so good. Not judging you. You don't get a score or anything, but that they weren't aware of, that we can do a better job of communicating about. That's a better way to phrase it. And then of course you get entered to win a raffle. And then, yeah, I think that, just the more you can help, the more you can participate, please, if you've got roommates in the dorm, help them. If you're an RA, help spread the word. Go talk to your RA and let them know about this. If you have other meetings, I don't know if there are other public meetings that you have in your dorms with your RAs, but I would be absolutely happy to come and speak to you there. Otherwise, that's it. I just want you to know those programs. Look at the app. There's all kinds of great stuff going on. We also have a reusable to-go container program that's brand new. It's called it looks like Ozzy, but they pronounce it OZ. Don't ask me why they just couldn't call it Ozzy. But that you get you pay $7 for a refundable deposit on that, and you can use that in the Fountain View Dining Center. There, because we're in the pandemic, the health department won't let us use it in other locations on campus. But once we get through this, the plan is to hopefully get another vending machine on campus and maybe use it in the EUC as well. But there's just all kinds of info for you guys if you're interested in this kind of thing via the app and via those surveys to get connected with sustainability. And then of course, just follow us on social media. We're at Sustainable UNCG, and send me emails and all that stuff too if you have any questions. Are there any questions right now that I can answer for y'all? Anything that you've seen on campus and you're like, why aren't we doing this? Or you don't see something on campus that you want me to make aware of. I get questions a lot about recycling, composting, our trees. It doesn't have to be about anything that I talked about today. But if you've got any issues, I think just now is a good opportunity to share those with me.
We do have a couple of questions. Kellen,
Okay.
Go first.
Hey, Sean. Thanks for coming. I actually took the Green Room thing just a couple weeks ago and got an email from you yesterday, I think. So I look forward to coming down to your office and talking to you a little bit more about this. But it's definitely gotten me to think twice just about different things that I didn't really think about before. Been unplugging stuff around the room, and yeah, it was really productive and helpful. So I appreciate what you're doing.
That's awesome, Kellen. I appreciate it. Yeah, I look forward to talking with you more. Yeah, so the reason, you think, I left my charger plugged in or I left my computer on. So let me just say something real quick about why it's important to turn these things off when you're not using them. So I'm sure everybody here either had, you've got a cell phone, you've maybe got a tablet, probably got a laptop or a desktop, so you've at least got 1 to 3 items that are just, your connections to the internet, right? If you look at every student and employee on campus, we have over 20,000 students. We have over 5,000 employees who all, by the way, have an office on campus. And some of us also bring in our laptops, or some of our offices have more than one computer in them. So plus we have computer labs. So we're looking at over, and I don't know the exact number, so don't quote me on this. But obviously we have over 25,000 laptops or computers on campus alone, plus cell phones, plus tablets. So that adds up. We're probably looking at over 30,000 different computers just alone on campus. The computers alone generate and use enough energy to produce 1% of our carbon footprint on campus. So annually, we're putting in 65,000 tons of CO2 on average into the atmosphere. And just our computers alone generate, running for 8 hours a day, generate 1% of that. So that's 1% that that we're all in charge of doing something about, that we can make a difference of. And we've been able to reduce our footprint by 8% over the last 10 years. We have a goal of getting to zero. We have a lot to do, and I know turning our computers off isn't going to get us to zero, but it can get us to a 9%. It can get us to 10% if we are really diligent about those things, because even if they're not on, if they're still plugged in, if they're charging and they're fully charged, and that's still energy that is coming from the wall, that's coming from Duke utilities and coal power plants and natural gas plants as well, which are not great for the environment. So the more you can unplug, the more you're going to reduce your energy and our carbon footprint on campus. So that's why those little things are really important. And the same goes for taking public transportation, carpooling, biking to work, walking to work. If you live, I say work, you're going to school. Those things add up, even if it's just like once a day, once a week, once a month, that you walk or bike, because I know the roads around campus aren't great, but again, the commuter survey allows you to provide an opportunity to do that. And then the other thing I forgot to mention about the commuter survey is it's totally confidential. We do ask for your zip code, and that helps us determine the distance that you travel to and from campus, which then I put into a online calculator that helps us determine the carbon footprint of our commuters. And so where our computers, I hope I say that, don't get those words mixed up, but our commuters, so people who drive, ride the public transportation, contribute, faculty, staff, and students contribute 20% of our carbon footprint. And you can see all that stuff online. If you click the dash, there's a little dashboard symbol on the app, on the home screen for the sustainability. You can click on that and it'll take you to action areas, and you can read our carbon footprint report on there. But again, the more, when you put in your zip code, we get to see what, we don't know it's you personally who lives in that area, but we get to see, like we use GIS systems, and we can see hotbeds of where the majority of our students or employees live. And then potentially, I'm not saying that it's going to eventually lead to these things, but it helps us get to these points where we can go to the public transportation systems in Greensboro, go to TDOT, GDOT, and say, look, we have a large population of students that live in this particular area that aren't being served by public transportation. And maybe we can get a bus route into there, or maybe we can increase frequency of the bus routes. So, all of this is just taking about 5 to 10 minutes of your time to really help make an impact on a community scale. So think about, a lot of people say, well, my one little action isn't going to really do anything. Why should I bother? Yes, we need international efforts and policies and laws to regulate pollution and reduce our, the nation's carbon footprint. But on a local level, we, our little individual decisions do absolutely make a difference. And that's just one example of how we're trying to do that here at UNCG.
Thank you.
Anything else? But I know you guys have other things on your agenda.
That's completely fine. We definitely do appreciate your time. Nadira.
Hi, I wanted to say thank you for coming and talking to us. But I also remember, I think someone from sustainability talking to us about the new trash cans that were put in place and how those are really helpful for recycling and stuff. Are you guys thinking of adding more of those onto campus? Because I've seen them on like College Ave and closer to the EUC, but not all the way across campus.
Yeah, so those are called, the company that operates those is called Big Belly. And yeah, they're awesome. They, that was probably me. I came and talked to SGA last year, and we had just developed, just implemented those last year. That is being funded by the Green Fund, and you can see more information again on the app about the Green Fund. That's an on-campus grant program. Corinne also sits on that committee, so you can ask her questions about that if you need to. And that's just a 4-year pilot program. So there is a risk that those could disappear, unfortunately. And obviously nobody predicted the financial ramifications of a global pandemic that would have on campus. And I don't know if y'all have heard, but we are definitely facing a multi-million-dollar operational deficit. And some of that is because we're not getting the financial support from the state and national legislatures to provide more just relief packages. That's the word I was looking for. So yes, we absolutely want to, Nadir, we want more of those on campus. They cost us, just those 6 alone cost us $17,000 a year because we lease them. We don't pay for them. We lease them because then that includes like a maintenance warranty and everything. So, if we were to buy them, we would be responsible for replacing all their parts, and it would be even more expensive. And we're not necessarily trained on those either. But yeah, they're amazing. They're connected to our well, they're not connected to our network, but they're connected. They have GPS systems in them, and they're connected to the cellular network, and we can log in onto a dashboard and see when they're full. We definitely have not had to drive down the College Avenue with the big dump truck anymore. And so that's reducing particulate pollution. And obviously that's a big noisy truck that's going right down the middle of, one of the most beautiful pedestrian friendly avenues on campus. And so they're really making a great impact. Yes, we want to use them. The upper administration and facilities are really happy with them. They're reducing the amount of labor because people have to drive around and look at inside the trash cans to see if they're full, and we don't have to do that with these. And so it's freeing up our labor costs, and they're just really great branding opportunity. You got the recycling sign on there. So we want to support them. It's a question of whether or not when we ask for our budget, if the state legislature is going to approve that. And I know that's always an issue. We always hear like, why aren't we doing more? Why aren't we doing more? Well, we want to do more, but and not to get too political, but it's really about turning out the vote and you voting for representatives who are going to support these types of issues that are important to you. And because if we don't have people who, the people who control our budget thinking and caring about these things, it's just not going to happen, right? So if this is something you care about, you've got to go to the polls. You've got to help register voters. You've got to, make your voices heard and make that happen, because otherwise we're dependent upon, programs like the Green Fund, which is not meant to be a permanent funding solution. That's only $58,000 annually. So just the 17 grand from the Big Belly, that's like a quarter of the Green Fund's annual operating budget. And that's one of the bigger grants that we've funded, but we thought it was so awesome that we really wanted to, but if you see, but the other thing I could say is, take a picture of it, tweet it, hit the chancellor up on Twitter and say, man, these things are awesome. We're so glad to see UNCG supporting these things. You don't have to yell at them on Twitter, like be positive about it, right? Like, so this is so awesome. UNCG is doing this. You don't have to like complain about things like, wish we were doing more of these. Just, stay positive and help lift up the work that we're doing if you appreciate it, and I think that'll go a long way for other people in positions of power and higher responsibility than I personally have, of making sure that we do find money for these types of things.
Thank you.
What's up?
You're welcome. I know I always have long answers, but everything is like so intricate and connected, and I just want y'all to know what's happening. So
Definitely. Did someone want to speak? Someone's mic came on.
Oh, that was just me saying thank you, Ollie.
Oh, okay. You're good. No, but thank you again, Sean. We definitely do appreciate your time and your detailed answers. It definitely will help us in like promoting you and this is a sustainability organization on our campus.
I appreciate it, Ali. You guys, thanks so much for all the work that you're doing. I know that comes a lot of responsibilities working with SGA on top of your class schedules and everything. So, you know, I hope everybody's staying safe and your families are staying safe, and keep up the good work, and you know where how to find me.
All right. Have a great
Okay,
evening.
peace, y'all. Cheers.
Give me 1 second. Moving into our next guest, Milan, will be speaking about ASG and his position in government outreach.
Hey, Senate. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing well. So I wanted to first give a brief introduction about my role with UNC ASG, and then specifically to gather your feedback on a upcoming meeting that I'll be having with the governor's office. So my name is Milan Novakovic. I use he, him as pronouns, and I serve as the Associate Vice President of Government Outreach for the University of North Carolina System Association of Student Governments. Basically, what I do is I help to work with all 17 public institutions across the great state of North Carolina to advocate for the needs of students to a state government, and specifically the Board of Governors, which oversees all operations of the UNC system. My role is specifically pertaining to government entities or government-related advocacy. So that might be things like tuition and fees, budgetary allocations, advocating for changes in rules, policies, and procedures. So if you ever have any questions or would like the support of UNC ASG, any of those regards, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'll drop my email and contact information into the chat. But I'm here specifically today to speak to you about COVID-19 reopening strategies within the state of North Carolina. UNC ASG's executive cabinet will be having a meeting with the director of allocations for the governor's office, who's overseeing the reopening allocations process for the state. Through the Federal CARES Act, we have millions of dollars at our disposal to create initiatives and causes that are beneficial to our students. And now is a great time to advocate for those specific initiatives, wants, and desires that are necessary to support our students during these unique times, because the state and the governor's office is in the process of allocating the millions of dollars to various entities and help us create some meaningful change and alleviate some of the pressure and stress related to going to college during a pandemic. This is going to be a very open-ended discussion, mostly focusing on you all's perspective on what areas you would like to see money allocated to. This can be specific initiatives such as more mental health counselors in the counseling center, or expanded broadband service throughout our residence halls. Whatever it is that you all identify as key issues or areas where you need support that could be provided with this availability of CARES Act money. So I'm going to be all ears, and I'll turn it back over to Ollie or Jesse to kind of coordinate who speaks next while I take some notes on what you all say.
Thank you, Milan. We're just going to go ahead and go through the chat. So if anyone has anything to say or add to the conversation, just go ahead and drop a X in the chat. I see that Cam has something to say. You can go first.
Hey, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, Cam.
Okay, perfect. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much, Milan, for coming to this meeting. We really appreciate it. Also, just to talk about a couple of the things that I think would UNCG students would benefit from this money that's going to be allocated. You already said one of them that's been on our minds for a while. At least we were talking about it. We've been talking about this for as long as I've been in SGA. The issues with our mental health center, as far as not having enough people to take care of like the population of our campus. And we've heard many stories like from directly from students talking about how they have to wait up to a month to be seen for various mental health issues. And, I think that's just unacceptable, just generally. And I think our students deserve better, obviously. But if that money if you could put in a word, for that money to be used towards that, especially, that would be very much appreciated. Also, with the UNCG CARES Act, when they were allocating money to students, if you were under the financial aid thing, do you know what I'm talking about? If you qualified under that, I thought that was also very helpful as well. I was one of those students who did benefit from that. And I think if they brought that back again for the next next semester or the next year, fiscal year, whatever it would start again, that would be very helpful. And lastly, I was going to say, I think putting or them allocating money towards housing, and this could be on campus housing needs and also off campus housing needs. I just know when like the pandemic first started and there were so many people obviously in the country out of work, but also affecting our campus that were out of work, including myself. And there's a lot of students that need that kind of money to be able to afford, rent off campus. A lot of students that don't have guardians or parents that are, paying for their apartment or wherever they're living for housing, or paying for food and necessary essentials. So those are the three things I think are really important. And I know there's so many more important things out there, but those were just the three that came up to my head or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thank you, Cam. I just wanted to kind of follow up quickly on one point that you brought up. You mentioned bringing back direct payments through the CARES Act to students to support them. And then you brought up kind of rent relief could be a reason why students would need this direct payment program to return. Could you tell me, or do you have any other examples of how students would utilize these direct payments?
The direct payments that I suggested, like for housing?
For the CARES
Act. Oh, through the CARES Act?
Yeah.
So we have and I'm pretty sure you already know about this, but we already have on our campus established a big food insecurity issue. So I know students would most likely need the money towards food, towards housing, also textbooks is a big cost for students, and something that students struggle with when we're not in a pandemic, let alone in a pandemic. So I think those are big three. And just other day-to-day basic necessities. I know like in the dormitories, there's a lot of things you have to buy. And of course, when you live in an apartment by yourself, there's other bills you might have to pay. A lot of these students are doing it all on their own. So this could, I feel like that could cover a very wide net of things that I can't all list off the top of my head, but those are just some of the more important ones that I could think of. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
As of right now, Milan, there are no other questions. Well, Tanisha.
Okay, so going along, Ali, you can probably help me with this, but the Student Health Center with COVID, they're seeming a little, I don't know how to say the word, but not really taking emergencies that are on campus. So I was trying to figure out, what do we do in the event of emergency when like a student gets hurt? Where do they go? Like, do we automatically call 911 or what? Because it just seems like the health center really doesn't have anything for the students, just if something urgent happens and they just need to speak to someone or be seen right then and there.
Okay, so I'm hearing allocations for increased kind of nursing and physician staff in the health center to be able to kind of provide that more urgent care walk-in experience that students had access to pre-COVID.
Yes, thank you.
Of course.
And Asia, if you want me to add to that, I could, about like the whole situation that occurred.
Yeah, could I get some context perhaps if you're comfortable here?
Yeah, for sure. So we were doing the Go Vote video the other day. I believe it was yesterday. Sorry, the days were flying by. And we were filming and we saw someone fall down off a scooter. We immediately went over, Tiny and I, to go see if they were okay. And they were quite hurt, honestly. Like their whole arm was torn up. It was bleeding everywhere. Their knees were scraped up. And it was because there was like a loose brick on College Avenue. They were on a scooter. They lost all their food and stuff like that. But the fact that I walked them to the health center, and when we got there, they didn't really care. They were just like, "Oh, why don't you buy some gauze? You could buy some from right there." They didn't take him in, and so I don't want to take credit for it at all, but I did speak up and I was like, "You should be able to take him in. It shouldn't take that long just to clean him up and take him back out." So just in terms of having access, I know it's COVID time, so it's like kind of sensitive for people to come in without having an appointment or things of that nature, but just maybe having some more allocations towards like nurses specifically for students who don't have appointments, just to come in and get checked out. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's like the context that's behind that.
Absolutely, I definitely understand what you're getting at there. That is an unfortunate circumstance for sure.
Nadira.
Hey, Milan. So in terms of allocations, I knew of something that's coming up pretty quickly is winter break. And one thing that we recently heard about was that students who, might not want to go back to their homes during the winter because of, COVID possibly bringing it back home or things like that would want to stay on campus, but they'll have to pay quite a fee to do that, like hundreds of dollars, which is out of pocket because like most of us have recently lost jobs and are using as much money as we can to like food, transportation if we need it, textbooks still, things like that. So do you think there would be a way to possibly allocate some funding to lower that amount for students that would have to stay on campus during the winter?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That is definitely a point that is near and dear to my heart, as I do work as one of the resident advisors here for HRL. So I've definitely been aware and have heard those concerns from many students. So thank you for bringing that up. I will present this at the governor's meeting along with all of these other recommendations. However, just kind of being transparent with the nature and process that government operates. This is not something that I can foresee being made available in that timely of a manner. However, I do think that the UNCASG Department of Government Outreach would be happy to work with you, other senators or other SGA leadership to kind of devise an advocacy strategy to campus stakeholders that could help create a program where students who exemplify a need for this housing could have that housing fee waived. So I will bring this up as a concern to the governor's meeting, but my personal and professional recommendation would be that this be an issue that the individual institution works to advocate for on behalf more quickly right away.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you could maybe perhaps schedule a meeting with Vice Chancellor Akins, Director of Housing and Residence Life, Dr. Tim Johnson, and perhaps Dean Carter, and just kind of lay out everything that you kind of said to me here in a compelling argument and say, could we create a program where if a student cannot afford this, this can be available to them at no charge? And ultimately, I would be happy to kind of give you some pointers on that, because if we're providing services for one student who's paying to stay here, it doesn't cost us any extra to provide services to students who may not be able to afford to stay here over winter break. So whether it's 1 or 100 or 1,000 students, it really doesn't hinder the system too much. So that's definitely something that I think that SGA could advocate for more immediately with campus leadership. I just am concerned that this issue may not be able to be addressed so quickly at the governor's and state legislator level.
Milan, definitely. I'll stay in contact with you. Maybe you and I and a couple other senators who are interested could set up a meeting with the dean and like Tim Johnson, something like that, so that even if it's not heard this semester, we can do something as in like a waiver or something like that, if that can work.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know how I can help. But do we have any more kind of areas where you feel that budgetary allocations could be provided that we should be advocating to state legislators this week?
We do have 3 more right now. So Austin, you can go.
Let's go.
Hey, Milan, thank you for being here with us tonight. Really do appreciate it. What I was going to mention is more funds for Spartan Open Pantry. I know that food shortage in Greensboro is definitely a problem, specifically with UNCG and with reduced hours and whatnot for dining, that it is a massive burden for a lot of students to be able to pay for their meals, either off campus and whatnot. And I think that would be a very important thing for us to have more funds for it to support students at Spartan Open Pantry. Thank you.
Thanks, Austin.
Irving.
It's not really for Milan. I'm just adding on to the previous statement about staying over winter break. The price went up as well from $500 to $600 to stay on campus over winter break. And to put that in perspective, like I signed a 12-month lease, which is cheaper than signing a 10-month lease to live on campus. And I can stay where I live over breaks, but you're being kicked off campus and you have to pay a pretty much rent to stay on for a few weeks or a month, which it doesn't really make sense financially for students. Yeah. I don't know if that made sense. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. It would be really interesting to kind of calculate the per diem expenditures of the typical fee of $500, look at how long winter break has been in years past, and see if this extra $100 is really justified based off of the number of days of service that they've added. So that would be an interesting statistic to try to calculate and pull.
Thanks, Irving. Nicolette.
Okay. Hi, Milan. Thank you for being at our meeting tonight. Mine is kind of, I don't know if this is weird, but like allocating more money for like a weekend cleanup staff for like specifically the bathrooms in the residence halls, because we don't have like a weekend cleanup thing, and the bathrooms can get like very to some point unusable, because like, as a girl, like we have like feminine hygiene products and all this stuff in the bathroom, and they start to continually overflow every weekend. And not even like pre-COVID times, but now we're in like Corona times, and we're having to go to the bathroom and constantly be in a actual unclean space. And I think that's like bad, especially because like there are germs, more, I guess, additional germs, and we're having to like live in this space. And I feel like we should feel like, stuff is at least like usable.
Yeah, I definitely understand. If we've increased sanitation and cleaning policies throughout the typical 9-to-5 work week, we should also be increasing them over the weekend. Completely makes logical sense.
Kellen?
Hey, Milan. I remember from, sorry, the camera's kind of messed up. I remember from in the past when I worked both as an RA in the apartments and in traditional style residence halls. And I think the way that I've heard this, as far as the apartments, in the past, those students didn't have to pay extra to stay over the winter break. are they still going to have to pay extra in this? That's how I interpreted that they would. And I was wondering why. I remember before, most students over winter break would have to pay extra regardless, unless you were in an apartment and then you could stay the whole time. Is that something that now all of a sudden, even those apartment students and residents are still having to pay that fee?
Yeah, Kellen. So your understanding is pretty accurate. Students in traditional and suite style halls, so that basically encompasses Olive Gray Drive, College Avenue, the historic Quad, and Jefferson Suites, will pay a fee of $600 to stay over winter break. Students in the apartments that consist of Tower Village, Spring Garden Apartments, SP 1, 2, and House on Lee will pay a fee of $250. The $250 fee for apartments has no precedent to years past, and the $500, now $600 fee does have some precedence for students in traditional and suite style halls.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious as to, I mean, I get them keeping that for the traditional halls, but the just random add on to the apartments when typically that's not an issue at all and nothing actually is changing over there was just peculiar. And I wasn't sure if that would be something that could be brought up or mentioned.
Yeah, we can definitely will be bringing up that fee. And thanks for kind of pointing out that point that, traditionally these students have stayed here at no additional cost. So thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think definitely funding for mental health and also promoting that, like, if we are gonna give funding to like pay and help for like more mental health counselors, that we're hiring diverse counselors. Because I know that's feedback that we've gotten before, or that we've given before. It's just making sure that the counselors actually reflect the student body, because it's hard to be counseled by someone who doesn't share your lived experiences. So just making sure that we have diverse people for students to choose from and get the best counseling that actually helps them. Because if we just have more counselors, but they're not matching the students, it's really not going to be helpful. So I would just add that.
To follow up to that, Gia, do you have a specific identities, or lived experiences that you believe that the Counseling Center at UNCG does not embody?
I think we could use more people of color. I think that's something that our counseling center, I think the last time when I used to go, there was only one or two. We know we're at an MSI, so we should have people of different backgrounds there, and just making sure that they're being represented there too, and also making sure there's queer representation. But that's the feedback that I would give.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that is all we have for you, Milan. I don't have any other X's in the chat.
All right, awesome. Well, Senate, I have really appreciated this conversation. These are definitely some great talking points to bring back to the governor's office. I appreciate y'all spending your time speaking with me, and I really enjoy the opportunity to advocate for students across the UNC system to state legislators. And so I look forward to this meeting at the end of the week. Hopefully we're able to allocate funding to some of these initiatives that you brought forward. And then hopefully Ali and some other senators and I can work on helping to kind of address the housing winter break cost disparity that is present on campus right now. So again, thank you all so much. As always, if you need anything from the ASG Executive Cabinet, feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to help, gather your feedback, and then collaborate on any programs that you want. Before I leave the Zoom call, I will drop my email in the chat. You're welcome to reach out, but I'm going to head out, and y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for your time again, Milan. I'll definitely be in contact with you following this meeting so we can work on a couple of things.
Sounds great.
And also just a quick reminder to all of our senators, if you would not mind keeping your cameras on, be great. I'm scrolling down the participants list and it's like 95% of you have your cameras off.
I'm dead.
Not trying to be picky, it's just that, I don't know, it's kind of more authentic if we have kind of a close as we can to face-to-face relationship over this Zoom call.
especially for the live stream, because there's only like like four spots open whenever we don't have our cameras on. So thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Austin. I do not think we have any students here for student forum today, so we can go ahead and move into new business. Charles or Saheem, I don't know which one of you are going to be presenting the Pronoun Act, but whichever one of you are going to do it, you can do so now.
Go ahead and take over, boss. Give me 1 second to pull up the bill.
Take your time.
Alrighty, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. This is the pronoun identification bill. I will be reading it today for Edmund, who is not currently here. Section 1, the Student Senate of UNC Greensboro Student Government Association adopts the following bill. Whereas the University of North Carolina at Greensboro has a wide variety of students from all backgrounds and identity. Every day as a university, we strive to be as inclusive as we possibly can. And whereas the Student Government Association of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro embraces all of our students' identities, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or beliefs. And whereas in order to serve our student body to the best of our ability, the Student Government Association of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro recognizes the importance of addressing students by their proper pronouns and respecting proper pronouns. And whereas in the 97th session of the Student Government Association of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, a piece of legislation was passed that required all senators' pronouns to be listed clearly on name tags and placards. Whereas to show the Student Government Association is fully committed to being an organization centered around inclusivity of all students, the Student Government Association of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro moves to update the standard operating procedures in Article 3, Section 1 to include senators shall have their pronouns displayed on name plaque cards, name tags, and email signatures. Whereas to ensure coherent standard operating procedures, the Student Government Association of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro shall add this clause to the duties, powers, and responsibilities requirements for the President, Vice President, Attorney General, and all members of the Executive Cabinet. Enacted upon passage of this legislation, the standard operating procedures for the Student Government Association of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro will be updated to reflect these changes by the end of the semester and voted on by Senate for approval. One second to pull up the chat. I see. Okay, 5 minutes to present. I'm all finished presenting the bill. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to hold discussion in place of Edmund. Am I allowed to do that, Jesse?
Yeah, so when I said 5 minutes to present, I don't know if you want to talk behind like the purpose of the piece or like why you guys decided to write it. So you'll have 5 minutes for that. And then we'll start out with 5 minutes of initial question and answer, and then 5 minutes of discussion. And then we will go from there.
Okay, well, to start, I don't want to speak entirely for Edmund. Of course, this is his bill that he wrote. But I will say that in speaking to him about it, it is my understanding that he wants to make a move from the bill that was presented in the 97th session on pronoun identification. Instead of it being a suggestion, he wants to make it a requirement and also add it to the SOPs as well. Can I go ahead and make a motion to move into questions?
If you're done, you don't have to make a motion. You could just say, I yield my time to question and answer, and then we'll start.
Okay, I will go ahead and yield my time to question and answer. Start with Cameron.
Hey, Charles, Ali will go back to calling.
I apologize.
You're fine.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, Charles. Cam, you can go first.
Someone has to limit their time, right?
I yield my time to Cam.
Thank you, G. I appreciate it. I just wanted to say, first and foremost, I know Edmund's not here, but I really appreciate this kind of bill being entered into Senate. And Charles, I appreciate you reading it on behalf of him, and I think this bill is really thoughtful and awesome. My only concern, or I guess if I would put it in a form of a question, but do you think Edmund would consider, because I think the only issue with making it a requirement is that some people not everyone is comfortable with putting their pronouns on like a name tag, because they're not, like, you just don't know where people are in the stages of finding themselves and figuring out what their gender identity is. And so my question is, do you think he would be willing to reconsider it? Now we could make it like something that we could highly suggest, you know what I mean? But I don't like the wording of requirement, only because not everyone is there yet in their journey. So I just don't want to force anyone to put any labels on themselves that they haven't like figured out yet. That's my 2 cents on that.
Of
but
course.
Otherwise, I really like this bill.
Thank you, Cameron. I think that is an excellent point to make. Again, I would hope that I'm not interpreting this wrong for Edmund in saying that he would like to make it a requirement. But definitely, I think that we could back off on the requirement part and make this more of a highly suggested. I believe another difference in the two bills is that Edmund wanted to have this bill enacted on the SOPs to be included there as well. So definitely, I can definitely talk to him about changing it from a requirement to highly emphasized. Thank you so much for that. That was actually a great point.
Thank you so much.
Gia.
Yeah, my point was like very similar to Cam's. I think the bill's great. I love the intentionality behind it. But my question was just kind of like, why was it that we wanted to make it a requirement? Because I know when we talked about this like last session, making it a requirement like leads to outing, and not everybody is there yet, and it could risk people being outed. So I just kind of wanted to know, what was the thought process behind making it required instead of suggested?
Thank you, Gia. I definitely believe the thought process was coming from a place of establishing more inclusivity, making senators feel, and those of SGA feel more welcomed, more opened, giving them that power, you know. But I see that, as the two of you have pointed out, that definitely those could be causes for concern, outing, feeling pressured to include that information. So definitely there should be a consideration to change that wording, of course.
But great work. Like, I'm really happy that this bill was written.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can someone yield their time to Austin?
I'll yield my time to Austin.
Thank you, Charles. Could you scroll up to line 16, 17?
Of course.
Yeah, just real quick, because I want to just make sure I read that right. So for that whereas clause starting on line 17, y'all wrote that it passed that required all senators to include their pronouns. I don't know how to word this into a question. It's probably a discussion, but like that's not what the legislation said from SB 9721. Just
right. I believe it was a recommendation, correct?
Correct.
Now I have a question for you, Jesse. Can I how can I say this? Am I allowed to make a a change to the legislation written by Edmund, though he is not here?
Formally, this will be done during discussion, like I guess as a first point. But Edmund would have to be here to accept if it was a friendly amendment to change the piece. But since this is the first reading, you could give Edmund the suggestions that were said, and then you could change it and present that in the second reading.
Of course. And what I'll go ahead and do, I will drop Edmund's number into the chat for any questions that anyone may have specifically for him, as he was the author for this piece of legislation. If I can do that real quick.
Time just ran out, so if someone wants to make a motion to extend.
Motion to extend, Tom.
David, second.
Second.
By how many minutes?
5.
Someone yield their time to Irving.
I yield my
I
time.
give my time to Irving.
Hey, I was just wondering, do you think that like highly suggesting it is still kind of like pressuring people? Because I know when like people highly suggest me to do something, like I feel like I need to do it. That's just a question.
Thank you, Irv. Yes, I can see that. I can see that how highly suggested could still come off as somewhat pressuring. I definitely think that we could work to find better wording for that. I know that Edmund, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to speak for him again, but from my interpretation of this bill, it is wanting to make members of SGA feel more included, but definitely can talk to him about finding better wording.
Yeah.
I think kind of to respond to that, and I'll form it in a question, is maybe instead of like using like highly suggest, just being like a suggestion to be more inclusive, or like maybe how to be inclusive with pronouns, so that way it's not like pressuring. Do you think maybe that could be like or encourages, kind of like what Austin just said, using more language like that to show that we support this, we support using proper impersonal pronouns, but not like being overly forceful. Do you think maybe that could work?
Definitely.
Sorry if that was run on. I was trying to turn a response into a question.
It's all good.
Could someone yield me their time?
I yield my time to you.
Thank you. Charles, just to go along with this kind of friendly amendment suggestion thing that you'll convey to Edmund, I definitely like the use of encourages, but how about would encourage to use pronouns for themselves if comfortable? I don't know.
Right, just so that is specifically stated, definitely.
Yeah, just to make sure that everyone feels inclusive in that taking place of their pronouns.
Definitely, yes. Definitely make sure to bring that to his attention. And could you actually drop that in the chat as well, Ali, that wording?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Thank you.
I believe Anthony was next.
Yeah, I just have a point of information. Is that okay? Can I do that now?
Yes.
So would it be more so a bill than a resolution? I mean, would it be more so a resolution than a bill?
Uh, that would be proposed to you, Ali.
Since it's going into the SOPs, I do think it'd be a resolution, correct, Austin?
Oh, I'm unmuted. No, just because resolutions are stuff that we would do externally for SGA. So asking admin for something, a bill would be something that we're doing on our own. So changing our SOPs would be a bill.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Austin, was that the point you were trying to make? Is there anyone else? We have 1 minute. 30 seconds.
Seeing no one else, can we go ahead and make a motion to move into discussion?
Yeah, someone would need to make a motion for that.
I make the motion to move into discussion.
My second.
I guess I'm going to give a point of information just for you guys. Once time runs out, like, and you guys can just go into the next section. You don't have to like make a motion. So like say we're at 30 seconds. If you let the 30 seconds pass by, then we just move on. If no one else motions to extend.
Got you.
Nadira.
Hey, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate this bill, or resolution when it comes to be completed. It's really thoughtful, and I think it's a really good step towards normalizing pronouns being used properly and like more extensively in SGA, and hopefully that'll spread to other places across campus as well. It's a good first step. I like it.
Thank you.
Also, Charles, hold on. Can someone yield me their time? Or do I have to have time yielded, Jesse, because it's discussion?
During this time, you can make non-deliberative points, so point of information, point of clarification, point of order, but you would need time yielded to you for like an actual discussion point.
Okay. It's kind of like a friendly amendment or like a point of information, just because I know you can't edit it, but Carmen's name does not have an R in it.
I see. Is that something? Yeah, I can edit Jesse. I would need to make that
Yeah.
friendly to admin.
No, that's an appropriate thing to make because her name is just misspelled. You're not changing the spirit of the piece in any way. You're just spelling her name correctly.
Perfect. I also wanted to ask you, the first reading date is incorrect. I believe that admin put the 15th of September because this was supposed to be something that was presented quite a while ago. If this is also something that's not changing the document, may I change the date of the first reading?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
As well as it's SB 9803, I believe.
SB 03.
Which you had to correct at the top and the bottom.
Okay.
As well as I can tell you after you correct that. If you scroll up just a little bit.
Okay.
Line 25, I believe. I think it's supposed to be moves with an S.
Yes, I see.
Also, do you not have any signatories as of right now?
I do not believe.
Um,
Are we allowed to add signatories?
yes. So you can ask if anyone would like to become a signatory. They could just drop an X in the chat, and then I could read the names out to you.
Yes, please.
Peyton Upchurch.
Thank you, Peyton. That's a lot of X's. Thank you all so much.
You want me to read them out to you, or how do you want to go about it?
I got the chat open right here.
All right.
It may be more beneficial to move forward, and then Charles can add
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go ahead and move forward then. Charles, if you could stop sharing your screen and just continue editing the document, that'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Point of information, Edmund is here now. If you guys wanted to make amendments to the piece, he is here to accept said changes if he so chooses.
Motion to extend time.
By how many minutes?
5 minutes.
Second.
5 minutes starting now.
Also, welcome, Edmund.
Oh, also, I just wanted to make a motion if Edmund's open to motions for friendly amendments. I don't know if he is or isn't.
I am, yes.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about, just to like preference, we kind of talked about it earlier, how making it a requirement might cause outing. So we were just wanting to change the language to more so, I think Ali said it best, like encourage, if they're comfortable, to use their proper pronouns in their email signatures, place cards, and name tags.
Yeah, I accept that. I actually meant to change that, but I just didn't get the time. So yeah, I accept that friendly amendment.
You'll have to scroll up a ways in the chat, but Ali actually left a comment for you. It says encourages you to list your pronouns if comfortable.
I like that, yeah.
Could someone yield their time to Austin, please?
I yield my time to Austin.
Thank you. Hey, Edmund. So I don't know what line it is now because I don't have it like pulled up like on the screen, but I think it's in the whereas clause. It starts on line 17. You mentioned SB 9721 where it says that it quote unquote required that pronouns be added to placards and whatnot. That SB 9721 did not do that, so I was going to make a friendly amendment to change that from requires to encourages.
I accept that friendly amendment.
Thank you.
There's 3 minutes remaining. If anyone else has anything to add. Charles, Austin also wants to be added.
Not a problem. And just a point of information for you, Edmund. I am currently in the bill now adding signatories from the chat. There are quite a few.
Okay, sounds good.
Gia.
If no one has any other motions, motion to table this to the second reading.
Second.
Any abstentions? All right, Charles, you can go ahead and put the date for the second reading for October 27th, whenever you are ready.
All right, that sounds good.
Thank you for presenting that, as well as Edmund, thank you for writing that beautiful piece of legislation. Charles, if you would not mind, Daniel is not feeling too well right now. His voice is not really there. So if you wouldn't mind, could you read the Participation Act, if you're comfortable with that?
Not a problem. Before I do pull up the that piece of legislation, I'd like to ask Edmund, could you take over the bill and continue to add the names of all members that have asked to be signatories on your piece of legislation?
Yes, absolutely.
It is all the X's in the chat. Those are the members that have asked to be added to the piece. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and pull up Daniel's piece.
Daniel is here, just by the way, to everyone, and he did say he's comfortable to answer questions. He just doesn't have the energy to speak for long periods of time today.
All right, if everyone was ready, I will go ahead and share my screen again.
You can go ahead, Charles. Thank you again for doing this.
Of course. All righty. And here we have the SGA Participation Act. Starting with Section 1, the Student Senate of UNC Greensboro Student Government Association adopts the following bill or resolution, whereas the University of North Carolina at Greensboro Student Government Association serves the student body collectively through community outreach, representation of interest and concerns, and communication of available resources. And whereas the Student Government Association, the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, has made a concerted effort of the 98th session to address the financial, mental, and academic well-being of students otherwise obstructed by the 2019 novel coronavirus. And whereas to secure future involvement of the Student Government Association for the University of North Carolina at Greensboro elected to nominated members, the 98th session of the Student Government Association sets forth the initiative for comprehensive participation in the University of North Carolina Greensboro's Division of Student Affairs. And whereas to maintain active positions within the Student Government Association, elected and nominated members are hereby solicited to contribute, organize, or volunteer in adjunct with the Division of Student Affairs a minimum of once per semester. And therefore be it resolved, the Student Government Association for the University of North Carolina at Greensboro will be active participants in the welfare of students in need. The 2019 novel coronavirus has impeded student security through additional financial, mental health, and academic hardship that warrant the 98th session of the Student Government Association to collectively provide assistance in the public health of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro students. Section 2, Terms and Definitions. Contribute. Any donation on behalf of the student who participates within the Student Government Association at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Examples: an active Student Government Association student may provide the Spartan Pantry an equitable monetary contribution. An active Student Government Association student may provide the Spartan Pantry goods, non-perishable food items, toiletries, cooking utensils, etc. in acceptable condition. Number 2, organize. Any event organized and or executed by this active Student Government Association student directed towards the Division of Student Affairs initiatives, namely Spartan Essentials, supporting Spartans, wellness, mental health, and celebrating diversity. Examples: an active Student Government Association student hosting and or participating in a drive for donations for the Spartan Pantry and an active student government association, student hosting and or participating in an event for addicting awareness and adjunct with Spartans in recovery. Number 3, volunteer. Any volunteer work completed by an active student government association student within the Division of Student Affair Initiatives. Example, an active student government association student volunteering at the counseling center. And if Daniel is here to provide a little bit of background for his piece of legislation, I'd like to ask that you please do in the chat. I definitely don't want to speak for you on this very well written piece of legislation.
May I speak, or does someone need to yield their time?
You can speak, Daniel.
Okay, excuse me. So I was inspired to write this piece of legislation to provide somewhat of an incentive for us to get more involved in our student body. There's been a lot of concerns about their well-being, whether that's mental health, food security, financial, etc. And I think we can be more involved in this on a personal level. And if we all were to do at least one act per semester, not only does that help us get more involved in the community, but it ensures that we're actively participating and we're showing a face and excuse me. Yeah, it's making sure that we're all doing what we can to make sure everyone is having an easier time given the circumstances with coronavirus.
Are you all done presenting?
Yes, and with that, can I make a motion to move into question and answer?
No motion needed, but yes, we will now move into question and answer for 5 minutes, starting right now.
All right, thank you, Daniel, for your time, as well as Charles for reading all this legislation. I know you might be tired. Cam, you can go ahead.
Hey, someone has to lend their time to me.
Yes, could someone yield their time to Cam?
I yield my time to Cam and if I can do that.
Thank you. So I think this is a great piece of legislation. Once again, I'm really proud of the senators for, really stepping up and making these pieces. They're pretty great. Daniel, I just had a question for you. So within this piece of legislation, do you think when you're looking over it and editing and stuff like that, that you can add in a clause somewhere about who would oversee this participation? And like who would be in charge of keeping track? It doesn't have to be anything too complex or anything, but just, knowing who's going to be in charge of keeping track is important with stuff like this, just so we can still be held accountable to our students and our student body that we serve. Yeah, so it's important to have that listed in legislation. Would you be willing to have that included?
Absolutely. I think that would be a very good addition to it, just for accountability's sake. I forget the terminology for it. I think it's like ad hoc committees. Someone was telling me about that prior, and I think any senator who's willing to step up, myself included, I'm willing to do that, would just have some people. We would receive the information on that act of community service, essentially, and we can go through the proper verification methods just to make sure that this is legitimate. I do know of a few things that people do. They have signatures based off of whoever the supervisor was at the event. And I think if we could just have that sent over to us, whether that's a physical copy, email, I don't think fax would be relevant. I think that would be a good solution to that.
No, definitely, I agree. Just one other point I was going to make while you're talking, something else popped into my head about just having, like, whether or not you wanted this to be something we did for years to come, or was this just something that you wanted to have happen for SJ this year? Because the difference in that is like this year you can have, you know, yourself, right, like a charge of it and monitoring the participation whichever way you see fit. But in years to come, if this is something you want SJ to always be involved in, it might have it might be beneficial to have like a specific position that's not like you have to create a position, but a position that's already in SGA that's just always in charge of this participating SGA Participation Act, if that makes sense.
Yes, it absolutely does. And my goal in writing this was to have this be a permanent fixture, to have students who are in SGA to maintain their SGA enrollment to have to participate at least once per semester. And within the document, I made sure to put equitable as far as contribution or financial donations go. It's all going to be based off of your situation as well, because I'm not trying to put anybody in a disposition just so they can help better someone else, because it doesn't make any sense to me for them to worsen their situation while trying to help everyone else out. So if anyone has any thoughts or additional writings that we can make this piece write more involving equity for other people, I would most certainly welcome that.
Can I make a motion to extend time?
Yes.
Can I make a motion to extend time by 5 minutes, please?
Yes.
Second.
Thank you. Irving, I believe you were next, and Anthony, I already yielded this time to you.
I was going to see if we could take everything Cam and Daniel said and use it to update our SOPs, because a lot of the stuff in this document we should already be doing as senators and secretaries. So is there a way we could amend our, I know there's a way, but could we use this to amend our SOPs just to, I guess, add a factor of who's going to be monitoring this stuff so we could hold everyone, I guess, accountable for doing the stuff that we should already be doing.
Yield my time to Austin.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. So with Governing Documents Review Committee, we can definitely, once this passes, we can take that into consideration, adding it there. Thanks.
Haas.
First of all, I just want to say, Daniel, this is a really good piece. I just had a question. Well, actually, you kind of stated it with the monetary. Could you actually scroll down so I could read where you have that? Monetary, or whoever, I think it's Charles that has this one. A little bit down. I think it's like one of the first examples, I'm pretty sure.
Got you. Okay. Down to the second page.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's good. All right. So basically it says any donation. Well, I think it's 80.
Can't hear you, Haas.
Okay, I was muted, my bad. So the first example, an active student government association student may provide the Spartan Pantry with equitable monetary contribution. So like you said, like, you know, you weren't trying to have like, I guess what you were saying, but would you have like I guess a set, like how would you equate the value of like a monetary value to like someone who would, I guess, participate in like twice a semester? Like do you have in mind, like a scale or like just something to, I guess, even it out, the participation?
I feel that is a very difficult thing to address. I personally was going to leave it to the student for them to decide what they can comfortably give. Because like it or not, if it's a very small contribution towards something, that beats no contribution at all. And if someone is able to give $5, $10, or go buy some canned food that's, you know, they have a special running at Harris Teeter, or they can recruit family members, friends on campus, so forth. That is better than not doing anything. And I've had a conversation with Ty about this, and she made an attempt to have like a food drive, have a couple of bins going on, bins stationed in SGA, but there weren't any donations. So moving forward from this, I would love for people to have the initiative to be more, participating in the student body, because right now, as we've learned in this meeting alone, the Spartan Pantry does need donations, whether that's monetary or through goods. And I believe that it is within the students' ability to decide how much they can give, because some students don't have any financial concerns and they may feel comfortable giving $50. This is something that's going to not pressure folks to contribute beyond their means.
Thanks, Daniel. Anthony already yielded his time to me. Just in conjuncture with what Haas said and what you said, I know you said you didn't want to put anyone in a disposition. Maybe in addition to someone's monetary contribution, say even if it's $1 or like $5, maybe they can also do one act of participation, just so it kind of isn't on a scale that money is equivalent to time in that nature, just because of the situation of most students on this campus.
Right. I feel that goes, say if you're volunteering, that's where volunteering goes. That's why I have that separated in 3 different actions. So for instance, a student can make a one-time contribution, or they can host an event that they either host themselves, organize, or they recruit other folks who are maybe more apt in doing so to do it for them on their behalf, because they're the one that's creating the initiative. Or they could just do a single act of volunteer work, and that's on their own accord to decide when it is and how they go about doing it.
Thanks, Daniel. Haas? We're out of time. If someone can motion.
Motion to extend time by 5 minutes.
Thank you. Get a second.
Second.
Go ahead, Haas.
Do we have to suspend Robert's rules now?
After this 5-minute period, then that is correct. You would have to suspend Robert's rules for the rest of the piece. If you wanted more time in question and answer. I personally have to step away, but Peyton will keep up with the time, and Austin and Ali are pretty good about Parley Pro. You guys can text me. I just won't actually physically be on the call.
Thanks for your time, Jesse.
I'll be
Sounds good. So we'll just go ahead with this 5 minutes that we have. Haas, you can go ahead and go.
Okay. So basically in response to how you answered my question, Dad, that was a good point. Daniel, I also wanted to see on the opposite end, is there any way we could, like, I guess, I don't know. Like you said, how some people might not, I don't want people to think that they can get out of, like Irving was saying in our SOPs, as people in our positions, we're supposed to, go into our community, our campus, do and volunteer. I don't want people to think that, just by giving a monetary contribution to be out of that. Like Ali was saying, I don't know how to word it. I don't want people to get the wrong idea, just thinking that they can, give money without actually doing the service. If you get what I'm saying, I don't know.
No, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. The purpose of this piece of legislation is to set a sort of minimum participation, just to have the expectation moving forward, as part of the Student Government Association, that you do need to be in some facet involved with your own initiatives to have an outreach, because one person may not be able to do a lot, but if each and every single one of us is able to do that, then we have now a collective effort in doing this and addressing the concerns of their students, and making a difference if we all do participate. So it's really up to them, whatever may be best suited, and it's supposed to inspire people to do more than just the bare minimum of the piece.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Chia?
Yeah, I was also gonna say, like, kind of going off what Daniel just said, I think this would be a good foundation, because, like, also, in our like SOPs, we still have to do like 3 constituency outreaches or like initiatives to like support the student bodies. I think this would be like a good, like, also like you also have to do this. So I don't think you would get away with just money, but I just wanted to kind of give that point of information that we also have like other things we're supposed to do too. So I think this would be like a good foundation to like continue to promote those acts of service.
We do have 3 minutes left. If there's no one else, we can go ahead and move on. Awesome.
Can someone yield their time?
Yeah, I guess someone yield their time. Awesome.
I yield my time.
Thanks, everyone. So first, I want to say thank you, Daniel, for writing this ledge. I know, being your third meeting, that's a pretty cool thing to do. So I really do appreciate it. What I wanted to discuss during this discussion period was kind of what we've been doing, and just to like put a concern that I have on y'all's radar. So at the beginning of the semester, Tynasia created the SOP collection bin, Spartan Open Pantry collection bin. It's been sitting in the cubicle, and as Daniel mentioned earlier, there isn't any contributions made in there. Last week, I also made a challenge for 20 hours of volunteer service, and part of everyone's duties and responsibilities as a senator, you're supposed to have constituency outreach initiatives, and you're supposed to report those to either Ali or Asia, however they've decided to organize that. The concern that I want to raise is that if we currently aren't doing those things, if we're currently not proactively doing that, will passing this piece of legislation actually encourage everyone to do these things, to make sure that these things are occurring? It's wonderful to pass legislation and whatnot, but it's very important that we are being productive and we are doing these things, actively doing these things, I guess would be a better way to phrase that. That's what I wanted to bring up, the concern that I have. I think it's a great piece of legislation. I have nothing negative to say towards the legislation itself. I just want everyone else to have that perspective as they move forward with these discussions. Is, are we going to actively do what we agree to here? Thanks.
Daniel, if you are not going to respond, Gia is next.
I yield my time.
Gia.
Can we motion to officially move into discussion? Because I think we're still in Q&A. Because I saw we only have 30 minutes left. 30 seconds, sorry. Not minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
And then I did actually have a point. So I kind of wanted to respond to Austin. I think maybe we need to, maybe not with this piece of legislation, but maybe with governing docs, look at maybe creating an accountability act, and what does accountability look like in SGA, and how do we hold people mutually accountable? Because I just think that's somewhere we lack, but just kind of going off of like, how are we going to enforce it? Thinking about really like putting a piece of legislation or putting it in our governing docs, what accountability looks like. But that was just something that I thought of going off of that. But I think this is a great piece of legislation. I really support it. I think it'll encourage service and giving back to the community, and I think we should pass it.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Seeing that there are none, if someone would like to motion to end discussion, we could.
Point of order.
Yeah.
I thought Gia moved to go to question and answer, or whatever the next step was. I might be wrong then.
We went into a discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Excuse me.
Motion to move on.
Well, I'd like to add a friendly reminder or amendment, however you say that.
Real quick, was that Lorenz?
Yes, sir.
Would you retract your motion?
I retract my motion.
Thank you. You can go ahead, Charles.
I just wanted to bring up quickly, just like for the pronoun bill, if anyone would like to be a signatory for the SGA Participation Act, if we could go ahead and add them as well during this time.
Once again, just drop an X in the group chat. And Charles, I guess you can add it for Daniel this time if he is okay with that.
I guess like
fine
just
by me.
a point of clarification is for Charles. Charles, is this in the group drive?
Yes, this is inside the group chat, inside the legislative committee folder.
Would it possibly be more productive to have, instead of like you having to go single-handedly into it, have these people add their names as signatories or sponsors, whichever works?
As long as everyone knows how to get to the piece of legislation.
Yeah, so Charles, if you want to make it the easiest, since Austin had a good idea, you can just click on the drive and then like navigate through it so everyone can see how to get to it. And then I guess from there, everyone can just add their names to make it easier on you.
Of course. Alrighty. So what you're gonna do is when you get to the 98th session drive, go to the legislative branch. Let me move this out the way. Go to Senate committees. Go to the legislative committee. Go to Senate legislation. And here to the right, you will see the SGA Participation Act. And you open it as a Google Doc. And there you will add your names to the document.
Real quick, Charles, is it okay? I guess never mind. I take my question back. I just wanted to know if it was able to be edited by other people, but I guess Paige is already on there.
Yes, it should be able to be edited by everyone.
Okay, so everyone who would like to be a signatory, you can go ahead and add your name. Don't try to jump on top of one another. I know it can get a little complicated because everyone just starts typing. Other than that, I do appreciate your time, Charles. You definitely have been the voice for tonight, speaking for all this legislation, and thanks, Daniel, for your great work, especially being a new senator.
Thank you.
Thank you. Personally, for me, Charles, thank you so much for reading it. It helps save what's left.
Of course, Daniel, not a problem.
All right. And Charles, if you would like to stop sharing your screen, we can go ahead and move into executive reports. I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. I do apologize. My computer's trying to be slow today. All right, Austin, you can go ahead and start.
Thank you, Ali. So, as always, my office hours, cell phone number, and everything is up there. What I did this week was I did the Glenwood Urban Farm with Ali. Went on last Wednesday and the Saturday. Had ASG, which was Friday and Saturday. Me, Cam, Tynasia, Irving, and Awa met for the BLM admin meeting. So we organized for that, and then we had that meeting on Monday. As you can see, well, you guys can't, or you all can't see my cursor, so disregard that. We did the recording for the SGA video, which is there on the left. I'm not sure if Ali will be able to play it. If not, we'll figure something out. Don't play it yet. Hold on. But we put that together. That took literally everything I had all night to get together. So I'm really excited that we were able to produce it all within SGA. So if Ali wants to play it now, that would definitely be cool with me. Can't hear it, Ali.
You can't hear it?
No, hang on. Let me see if I need to give you ability to share sound or something.
Let me see.
No, I don't think there's anything I can do. Anybody who is better at all this Zoom stuff, have any idea how Ali can share his sound while he plays this?
I personally have no clue on how to share sound.
Try clicking on your microphone button, the little arrow that says up, and it says, on mine it says audio settings. I don't know what'll happen if I click that.
Okay, I'm on that.
Okay. Oh my God, I did this like a week ago. I'm trying to remember how I did it.
Should I click same as system?
Yeah, try that.
In SGA, we believe exercising your right to vote is one of the most important ways that you can make your voice heard.
This November, you're voting for more than just a president.
You're voting for people who will write laws, judges, governors, local officials, and more.
With deadlines approaching, it is time to make your plan vote.
You have 3 options to vote. You can vote on election day, early vote, or vote by absentee ballot.
North Carolina voters that would like to vote on election day, you need to be registered by October 9th, and you must vote at your assigned polling place. If you would like to vote by mail through absentee ballot, you must also be registered by October 9th. If you have missed these deadlines, you also have the opportunity to register to vote or update your address during North Carolina's early voting period from October 15th to the 31st.
You can early vote at any early voting site in the county you're registered in or you plan on registering in.
We're excited that UNCG's Kaplan Center is an early voting site for Guilford County this year.
Students can either keep their voter registration at a permanent address or they can change to an on-campus or local address while attending school. North Carolina voters can check their voter registration and view their sample ballot online so you can make sure you're ready to vote and start your candidate research.
If you registered before the deadline, it may take some time before your registration is updated. You can check your registration status at this website.
If you have any questions about voting, please visit the Office of Leadership and Civic Engagement's website at ofc.uncg.edu/students/voting.
Please join SGA by voting this year and every year to show our communities, state, and country that we care and that we want to see change.
So that is what we did yesterday. That took about, I want to say, like 2 hours to record all of it, and then whenever I say all night, I spent editing it. I actually spent all night editing it. It just for 1 minute and 50 seconds. It took a ton of editing time, but thank you all for your kind comments and whatnot. Beyond that, Oh, okay. So let me explain what we're going to do with this video. We'll be uploading it tomorrow, I believe at noon, to Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, for everyone to have access to it. We decided to hold off on uploading it like immediately after this, just so everybody has a better chance of seeing it instead of it getting swept under the rug too quickly, you know, because of algorithms and stuff like that. So that is the plan for that. You all are the first ones to see it. So wonderful on that. But other than that, if you want to move on, Ali. So what is coming up is, like I just mentioned, posting the video tomorrow. Me and Ali, I think. Ali, do you want to go to the urban farm again this week? Ali and I will be going to the urban farm again this week. If you're interested, I say this every week, please let me know. It is a really important opportunity to get involved in our greater Greensboro area, especially with Glenwood. So if you're interested, please definitely let me know. I'll get you in contact with Grace, the coordinator there, and we'll get you all set up. Governing Documents Review Committee starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. So that should go well. We'll discuss what we mentioned tonight, whether it passes or not, because those are really important things that we should be considering all the time. I have a meeting with Dr. Akins on the 29th, which is not quite 2 weeks away. The reason why I added that is because it's in response to the meeting that I mentioned earlier with the Black Lives Matter mural. I wanted to offer a question for all of us to consider, which is, what can we do as a collective to support Black students and students of color? This was a question that was raised during our meeting that definitely left me wondering what more can we do, what should we be doing and whatnot, and the sky is the limit, by all means. So I just wanted to open that question up to you all. By no means does it have to be answered right now. If you want to answer it, I think that X is for this from Gia, but just something to think about for the long term, and definitely responses by next Tuesday's meeting. That would definitely be wonderful. But Gia, if that X is in response to this, by all means.
Yeah, I know you said you're speaking with Dr. Akins about doing a mural, but have we thought about painting the rock? Because that's something we can do in that in-between time to show that we support students and we stand with students. I know if that's something we want to do as the publicity, I'd be happy to lead that. I'm not the best painter. So if someone who's a good painter would like to help, but I was just thinking like that's something like we could do now in the in-between time before, if we know we could get one, just to show that like we support, we're here for students, and like we want you to feel supported and heard.
Yeah, I definitely think that we can figure that out, get paint and everything organized for that. Maybe this question could be a little bit more specific, but beyond like what we can do as like a painting, as like a testament, what else can we do beyond creating a mural and whatnot, is what I'm posing. I definitely like your idea, Gia, and I'll be reaching out to you and the rest of the publicity community to work on that. But in this like broad encompassing perspective, like what is the best way we can have an impact for Black students and students of color at UNCG is the basis of the question. But
to kind of respond to that, sorry, don't mean.
No, by all means, go for
it. Maybe we could write a resolution saying that SGA stands with Black Lives Matter. So like, if it's not already clear, we could make it clear and be like, we stand with our students, we support them, and we're here for them. I think that would be a very good statement for us to say. And I think that's more than, just showing that we really do it and not just doing performative activism. Like, I don't want it to seem like we're putting on a show for it, but like we actually mean it. And like looking at maybe doing anti-racism training and really looking through our documents and us as an organization and seeing how can we take out any oppressive behavior that could be there, because our organization was probably built by cis white people. So making sure that there is no like oppression that's lingering, taking it out, and just showing that, doing trainings through passing resolutions and making it clear this is not just painting a rock, this isn't just painting a bill, we mean it, we're serious. Those are just my thoughts.
Austin, if you're ready, I can go ahead and let the next person go.
Yeah, did anybody else have any X's?
Yeah, you got Anthony Nadira.
Okay, I don't know, Ollie, your audio is very quiet. I don't know if that's just like on my end. I just want to let you know.
Can you hear me now?
You're still like super quiet, it seems.
How about now?
Same, yeah. It may be like you may have changed that setting and you may need to go back and change it.
I did change it back. I can speak louder.
I mean, you are still heard. It's just you're a lot quieter than what you were earlier.
I don't know what to tell you. I'll figure it out later, but I'll just try to speak a little bit louder. But Anthony is next.
Hey, Austin, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I know you're persuasive. Could you talk to Faculty Senate about making tuition lower for Black students?
I can definitely like try. I don't know if I'm that persuasive, but I can definitely see what I can do there.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Nadira.
Hey, so I was thinking in ways that we can support Black students is something that we kind of already are starting to think of right now as we're talking about our participation in things like the Spartan Open Pantry and, you know, First G at the G, which tackle things like, you know, food insecurity and like wealth issues, which is something that, you know, helps a lot of people and especially, you know, students of color. And then, you know, First G at the G, which tackles, you know, helping first generation students, which can also be, you know, pointed towards Black students because of, you know, like generational gaps in college attendance, you know. So when it comes to making a move, while we're waiting for something, you know, big, we could also be doing small things in these programs as well in the meantime.
Nicolette.
What I think, I guess, like we could do for students is
I was outside at night and I saw
like basically like I guess what we kind of did yesterday, like a video just to be like really quickly. It doesn't have to be as formal as it was yesterday, but just like look at us as like SGA saying like we support Black Lives Matter, we support our Black students on this campus, and we're like, you know, taking a stand that way. So they show, so A, they see our faces and know who we are, and B, they know that we are supporting Black students and students of color, like with our brand, I guess.
Anthony.
Yeah, just to talk about how, putting out a statement or painting something, I don't know, could also rub students the wrong way, because then they could say, well, you're just saying something, you're just painting something, where's the action to actually show that, we care or there's something to back it up. So we have to also, really try and also, hint to this for next meeting, to generate ideas, to actually have actions and plans to really advocate for Black students and students of color.
And if I could talk on that real quick, Anthony. Yeah, that was definitely the basis of the discussion, is that, this could be taken the wrong way, and that's definitely not our goal. And that's why, I wanted to bring it to everyone here and ask, like what else should we be doing actively? And I recognize that, like, my lens of looking at everything is limited by my identities. And, I think this is definitely an opportunity for me to be challenged overall. And that's why I'd like to have this discussion. So I appreciate that, Anthony.
Peyton.
Yeah, just to add on, I think it was Anthony that spoke on speaking to Faculty Senate about making tuition lower for Black students and students of color. I think just going off of that also, I love that idea. And I think that making sure that we're trying to help Faculty Senate and other faculty-led organizations be vocal in their support of Black students and students of color, because we've said it time and time again, we are an MSI, but I still feel like a lot of minority groups on campus are feeling that their concerns are being overlooked or ignored, and feeling supported by student groups like SGA is extremely important, but it's also extremely important for them to feel supported by faculty members and administration as well. So I think, if anyone has any ideas, I'm happy to help with that, Austin, to vocalize that to Faculty Senate even more than we already have. I think that would be great.
Thank you.
Manuel.
I kind of just want to touch on that as well. Like, I feel like something that we could do to kind of highlight representation. I feel like this is always about just like representation and sharing the story. Kind of how like UNCG does like those find your way stories and like interview people. I feel like if we could possibly like do something like on the Instagram or something like for like PR reasons, and kind of like highlight these stories of like how people of color have like overcame barriers or have like crossed bridges and stuff like that. That way you can not only like highlight these stories, but like show that we acknowledge these stories and we can represent people and show everyone that like, hey, like SGA, like we're supportive and like we want to reach out to these students. I feel like that's one way we can get students' voices to be heard and like be supportive.
It's a great idea, Manuel. Gia?
Oh, I was just about to say, I love that idea. If anybody would like to be a part of that, I would love, and even to talk with you about like what that could look like on our Instagram page. I would love to have those conversations. So like, if you could please reach out, or I could reach out to anybody in SGA who's interested in maybe being in one of those videos. I would love to do something like that, because I think it's important for our students to see people like them, not only on campus, but on leadership that support them, because far too often people don't see that. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know, because I would love the publicity committee to work on that kind of stuff.
I just wanted to say thank you, Manuel, for your great suggestion, as well as Gia for your proactiveness. I definitely think posting that on Instagram would be like a really great move, as well as once we do, I could get in contact with the person who runs the UNCG Instagram page and see if we could have it on there just to share our stories and things of that nature.
I'm not sure if anybody else had any comments or whatnot, but if not, I would definitely, if you want to send me an email or text or whatever works best for you, by all means do so. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas, and maybe if we want to discuss it more, we could get coffee or something. Whatever works for y'all, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Nadira.
Hey, so I just thought of something. When it comes to asking what we can do, a whole nother perspective that we could ask could be the primarily Black organizations that are already on campus, like the Black student clubs and organizations, maybe the Black fraternities, because they're notably left out in a lot of things. And maybe some of us who have like friends in those circles or are in those circles could reach around for that, kind of like look into what they want, what their needs are for now.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that, Jared. I appreciate it. And Carmen, we will try and get it on the video on UNCG's page. Thank you.
I just wanted to say great discussion, everyone. If there's not anyone else who has any questions or concerns for Austin, we can go ahead and move on. Seeing none, we'll just go ahead. You can go ahead, Peyton.
Hey y'all, hope everyone's having a good week so far. So my office hours are there, my cell phone number, you can text me, group me, message me, whatever you guys want to do. My email is there. If you need anything, just let me know. So just what I've been up to, executive council meeting on the 19th. Conduct team meetings with student advisors. It's been busy, but good. I'm planning this week's conduct team meeting and a professional development session. I'm doing a resume and CV workshop. So if anyone's actually interested in that, I'm a little proud of it. I put it together quickly, but I worked with the Honors College to put together some information. So if anyone's interested in the resume CV workshop, I'm happy to send you the PowerPoint and the templates for that. It was helpful for me to work with the Honors College on that. So I'm hoping it's effective for conduct team members, but if anyone at SGA wants it, I'm happy to give it to you. Hearings this week and last week, and then I turned 21 on Saturday, so that was exciting. There's some pictures from DC. I went to DC for my birthday, so there was some really beautiful art. Loved that. There's me in front of the Capitol building. They had it all fenced off, but it's all good. And then midterms, I say that every week. It's still going. No end in sight, but it's okay. I hope everyone's doing well on that. I know it's rough. And then just as I say every time, please vote if that's accessible to you. I know we mentioned this in the video, but you can same day register and vote at any early voting site in your county. Doesn't have to be your polling location from the 15th through the 31st. So if you're able to vote, I highly, highly encourage you to do that. Thank you so much, Cam. I really appreciate it. Also, so what I have coming up, executive council meeting on the 26th, I believe that's Monday. I'm making sure I got the date right. Conduct team meeting and workshop on the 24th, meetings with Austin Ali and Meredith as needed. I'm working as a poll observer, the governing docs committee meeting tomorrow, and then I have 2 hearings at the end of this week. But thanks. I hope everyone has a great rest of their week.
Thanks, Peyton. All right. My office hours are up there. They stay the same. My email's up there if you would like to contact me. I did forget to list a couple of things on here. Predominantly ASG. That went pretty well this weekend. I did enjoy my time with the specific committees I had to attend and things like that. I met with Austin. We're still working on governing ducks. That should be coming up very soon. Volunteering at the community garden with Austin one Wednesday as well as Saturday. Definitely going tomorrow as well. I was on the call with a couple of the senators as well as Austin on the meeting for the Black Lives Matter mural that Austin was speaking about earlier. Executive council meeting, did the SGA Go Vote video, which was shot by President Moore. You guys, shout out to him because that was really professional looking, honestly. I did also go to Hanging Rock this weekend. Those are some pictures I did take on my iPhone, which is pretty surprising. And then I'm working on setting up some doodle polls for one-on-ones for senators as well as committee chairs. So look out for those within the next week. Midterms, you know how that goes. Organic chemistry class is tough, but we're working it out. You know, pre-med life as well as Spanish and other classes. What's coming up? Planning more roundtables. If you all are interested in anything or have any ideas, just reach out to me. We can make something happen. I do know that some of you had suggested a roundtable for housing potentially, just because of the fees that they're suggesting for staying over winter break. Definitely planning more outreach initiatives. Louise has been in contact with me about a couple of ideas that she's had, so I'll definitely be working with her in getting some things rolling, creating legislation for minority groups on campus. After that, Black Lives Matter mural discussion yesterday that I had with the meeting with the administration, I did have some ideas that I'm going to be putting together to put towards some legislation. Planning another legislative board meeting, like I mentioned, Senator one-on-ones and committee chair one-on-ones. Just like today, how we had 2 speakers, I'm definitely looking, and Austin and I are looking to have more speakers for future meetings. Governing Docs Committee, as mentioned earlier, the weekly SGA Executive Council meeting, and then working on COVID stuff, as well as meetings with Austin and Peyton. And that's just a picture I took when I went to get some bubble tea with my friend last week. And then feel free to contact me if you have any questions, any inquiries, any ideas. Definitely would love to have some conversations with all of you just to get to know you on a better basis. The Go Vote video was really, really fun because I got to meet some of you senators for the very first time ever. So definitely looking forward to creating some relations with the rest of you senators. Moving on, we'll have Senator Forum. So any senator can speak up for 2 minutes on anything pertaining to SGA. Lorenz.
Hi. So recently I came into contact with some of the students on Wildfire. And I actually have two concerns because one of which they talked about, how we only have one mental health day this upcoming semester, and it's in the middle of the week. So they wanted to talk to like the administration about, if we can get that solved, if we can get more days, or if we can put that towards the end of the week. And my other concern was that, being new to SGA, I don't really know per se how to interact with the students. Communication wise as well. I see that we're having a couple issues to where like a lot of the students, if we are solving some of their problems, they don't know that we're solving like these problems. A lot of them are like clueless to what's going on in SGA. So those are my two concerns.
Thanks, Lorenz. And I believe Irving was going to respond to one of your questions.
As far as the mental health days, I know the chancellor mentioned in a meeting, I think it was last week, that a lot of that has to do with like how many instruction hours we have and our accreditation. But he did say that they're working on possibly adding some more. They just don't know what and if it's going to be like a surprise. But a lot of it boils down to we have to have a certain amount of instructional hours a semester to keep our accreditation.
Thanks, Irving, and thanks, Lorenz. Anthony.
Yeah, this is a question for Austin. Keep him busy today. Last week you said that we were like going to have an overhaul of the SOPs or the Constitution or whatever to make it more reasonable or whatever you said. And does that require, like, because of if you're going to change it, does that require like a Senate vote, or like does stuff have to go up for referendums, or are you just making grammatical changes? But if we're just making grammatical changes, that really doesn't really, like change how they work. Do you see like the question I'm trying to ask there, or do I need to keep going?
Yeah, so what I'm thinking you're trying to ask is like what exactly does a constitutional SOP overhaul look like?
Mm-hmm.
So in basis right now where we're at is that we need to organize what we need to change exactly in the sense of where do we start? Because we in order for us to do this, we have to maintain our governing documents. So we can't just erase it all and just like get going. We have to, know what students generally want to see from us, our SOP, or not our SOP, our Constitution, and what is the best way to work with students in the future. Since we are a service organization and our priority is student engagement. So that is what likely the rest of the semester and probably a good chunk of next semester is going to be dedicated to, is the build up to the rewrite, so to say. Because if to get into it, then what we're going to end up doing is making an even more confusing mess with our governing documents. And I don't think that's anything that I want, and I don't think that's anything that anyone else wants. And to have even more convoluted documents. So that is where we're going to be at for the next little bit, is the planning phase of what does future student government look like.
Thanks.
Thanks, Austin. Thanks, Anthony. I believe Gia was next.
Yeah, everyone. So for the Instagram, I'm trying to get more engagement. So I'm gonna start doing like poll Thursdays. So if you have any like polls you want to ask the students, let me know. I know Edmund's already reached out to me and Ty's reached out to me about polls to put up there. So if you have any polls or questions, I know Daniel has as well, please let me know. Also, I'm gonna do Resource Wednesdays, which is a point that Ty brought up to me to let students know about resources. I'll probably start next Wednesday since we're putting up the voting video this Wednesday. So if there are any resources that you think students need to know about, please let me know. I would love to have your ideas versus just going based off my own. And if you have any other ideas for social media or how you'd like us to improve, let me know. I know my goal is to be more transparent on social media and let students see what we're doing and how we're doing it. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Gia. Saheem?
Hello, everyone. So the concern from a student was that they want us just to communicate more with them, let them know what is specifically going on. So a suggestion that was brought up to a student was that, we send out campus-wide emails, just telling them about, Senate or things that we're working on, or, other things. You can use that opportunity to highlight our Instagram, tell them to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. So I believe we should at least talk about making a campus-wide email, just telling them, on Tuesday, you can tune in to our Senate on YouTube, have the email in there, not email, the UNCG SGA Instagram page. I see that there's a couple people with responses though.
Gia, you can go ahead.
So kind of respond to that, do you think if maybe we had like a monthly newsletter, that would be helpful? I know we've talked about doing newsletters before, just about some of the highlights, like what legislation we've passed, like what conversations we had. Do you think that might help meet that concern?
Definitely. That's I was about to say that too. That was another suggestion that the student had as well on Wildfire.
Okay, because the publicity committee can get working on trying to start creating monthly newsletters, and if anybody else wants to help with that, just let me know. I see people saying bi-weekly. I just don't want the students to get overwhelmed with emails from us. I feel like monthly is like, also I'm trying to think of turnaround time on making them. I just don't know if bi-weekly would be doable. That's just my feedback, but thanks, y'all.
Irving?
I was gonna say maybe on social media we could post something on the story, leading students to the website where our minutes and stuff should be posted, so they can also read up on what we discussed and what was passed, and legislation should be posted there as well. That's a way to get around doing something bi-weekly. Maybe we could do a big newsletter monthly, but like in the meantime, during the week, we could just say, hey, go check out the website, blah, blah, blah. We have uploaded what we talked about the past 2 meetings.
Manuel?
Kind of going off of what Irving was saying, I was in a meeting, probably in the same meeting with Irving a couple weeks ago with the chancellor, and one of the concerns that rose up was that a lot of students just kept getting a bunch of emails. So I feel like, I don't know how we would go like about sending emails, but I don't know if we would have ever tried like setting up like a SGA blog or something where like students could just tune in every day, and we just keep adding kind of like a Twitter, but like a more formalized Twitter, where we just keep sending like updates. That way students can just constantly see where we're going with that. That way we're not just like another email in the student's inbox. Because I could probably guarantee a lot of these people, maybe me, like will not even like pay attention to the newsletter if it came in once a month.
Thanks, Manuel. Anyone else for Senator Forum?
I was gonna say the newsletter could just, like, instead of emails, like we could use the platforms we already have. Like we have Twitter, we have Instagram. We just need to use them more effectively to get our message across. No shade to anyone. I was just saying, like, that's a way that we could solve the issue. Because you're doing a great job, Gia.
No, I definitely agree, Irving. I'm going to be honest. I know nothing about Twitter, so I have not touched Twitter, but I agree with Instagram. We could definitely put the monthly newsletters up there. We can make them like Instagram size. and do like a cute like 5 to 6 slideshow of like what's going on, because I think again building that engagement. And I think also the motivational Mondays will help with that too, because they'll see student faces. I really want them to start seeing that versus a bunch of flyers. So also, if anybody just wants to be highlighted in general, if you're doing great things, let me know so I can shout you out. Also, new senators, please fill out the birthday form. I'll drop that again in the chat. Thanks, y'all.
Is there anyone else for, okay, Cam? No, back that up. Jesse, I apologize.
You're fine. I think too with like Twitter, I don't know if you wanted to model it like maybe after like some of the UNCG pages, because they just post like small, like what you would post on Instagram with the same blurb, but it's also allowed to be like retweeted. And so that might be another way. Like I think that option's like definitely one to explore, because I think it can go a lot of different ways. Also with hearing student voices. Also Wildfire, I really like that idea as well.
Cam?
Hey, I was just gonna say that we don't have to be limited in the options that we choose. Like we can try to up our student participation and visibility with students and on multiple platforms. So that means doing different things that we haven't done before on Instagram and Twitter, but also like doing stuff like the newsletter, only because, and I know a lot of people don't read past like the newsletters and stuff, but it does get sent out to the entire student body. And our message on our individual social medias, like on Instagram and Twitter, don't reach the entire student body. So at least we'd have a chance to reach a wider range of people and have a chance for them to see what we're doing and to see where our social medias are at so they can follow us on there. So I'm just saying we could hit this from multiple points of view. It doesn't need to be singular in approach.
So Cam, just to get an idea so I can work on something, you're basically saying getting like correspondence with people who send out newsletters for UNCG so we can have our stuff up there.
That's correct. Like I don't know if Meredith's on the call. I'm pretty sure she would know. I don't know if that's like specifically CAP office, or I forgot who exactly would be in charge of that, because that's conversations I've had before too. Like, why can't we have a campus-wide email? Because they have one that goes out every week. And I do agree. I think Gia said earlier, we might not need like one every single week or twice a month or whatever. We just need something that goes out to students regularly, because it is frustrating when we are doing stuff for students, but they just literally don't know about it. And we have stuff out there, but it's not reaching as many people as it could. So yeah, I think it's like CAP office or something. I think Meredith would know who exactly.
Like UNCG weekends, like the weekend one that goes out, like something
weekend, exactly.
It's called like UNCG weekend.
Exactly. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there one that sometimes comes out on like Monday too, like for the week, or is that the weekend one? Or
I can talk about them. So it's Meredith. So Spartan Weekly is sent out by the Division of Student Affairs, and that goes out on Mondays. And then our office, CAP, usually sends out the weekend email, usually on Thursdays. I know one concern that we actually just talked about today in like the directors meeting with student affairs directors is that they've gotten a lot of complaints that students feel like we're sending out too many emails. And that like the number of engagement with the emails over the past month has drastically decreased compared to like the first month of the semester. So I think that might just be something for you all to think about. I don't know at this point if we would incorporate like another standalone email. We do send out some campus-wide emails for SGA related to like elections and that type of stuff, but just thinking to like if students are getting those emails, I mean, if there's ways to incorporate like an SGA like corner into one email that's already going out weekly, we could definitely talk about that. But just be mindful, and some of you might actually read your emails more because you're more engaged students, but I know that we've gotten some feedback recently just that students feel like they're getting too many emails. So that might just be something to keep in mind, that if people are putting an effort into doing something, that obviously if you're going to make an email for however often you do it, you want people to actually read it. So I think that that's something to think about. But yeah, Jesse, I think, was it Jesse that I suggested? I just saw the chat pop up. I think we could definitely talk about doing some type of listserv though. And if it's something that students could opt into for people who want to get those messages. I'm happy to continue to have that conversation with people after this meeting, if that's something we want to talk about.
Yeah, Meredith, for sure. If we could coordinate some time to meet, I would like to see if we can get our information out, just because I know that SGA's presence is not being seen according to a lot of posts that I've seen on Instagram and Wildfire. And I definitely want the students to be able to know that SGA and our senators and everyone who's involved are definitely fighting for the students on campus and like to have their voices heard and things of that nature. So if we can definitely meet sometime, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm fine with, yeah, whoever, if you all, Ali, want to coordinate on your end, whoever wants to meet, I'm happy to, we can definitely set that up.
Okay, I'll send out something in the group chat.
Okay, sounds good.
Anthony.
I didn't know you heard me, but this is like more so a question for you and Gia maybe. But is there any way like we can like post a list of like who's what type of senator, that way if for some reason they really did want to reach out to their senator, like they have it like easy access to what senator is like specifically what and what constituency that they have. Does that make sense? It's like, is there any way we could do that? Gia, I don't know if that's a question for you.
It's on the website, but so it's partially updated on the website, but we've had trouble lately trying to get the website updated again because something's happening with the web, like the access. So I'm waiting to hear back from like the IT person, but it's there. But I mean, I think there's a way you could also highlight it on social media as well, since people probably look at that more than they look at our website.
Yeah, as soon as we get the new headshots, I can definitely make them and make different flyers based off of like school senators, freshman senators, sophomore senators, student org senators, and just do a blurb. Like each week I could do like an SGA spotlight and spotlight a different senator constituency, just so like students can start seeing them. I'm just hesitant to post them all at once, or if I do, I'll post them all in one post, because I noticed like when we did like post all the stuff for the elections of all the campaigning stuff, we lost a lot of followers because we blew up people's timelines with pictures. So I want to avoid that again. But yeah, I think that's something we can definitely do if we do that on like a weekly rotation, or if we just do one big post of like multiple different flyers. I'm more of a fan of a weekly rotation because like I feel like that gives everybody their own spotlight and it's not lost in the shuffle.
Cam, I definitely like the idea that you have. If you want to speak on it, you could.
Yeah, I was just saying, I just love all the ideas that are bouncing around right now. I think this is what SGA meetings are all about. It's just bouncing off ideas off of one another. Anyways, I was just saying, like, if we are able to get on a CAP email or student affairs email or an email of our own that we can send out to the student body, like, I feel like a really nice way to start is just simply with an introduction of who we are, what we do, and like contact information to reach out, because some of the students I've talked to over the 4 years I've been doing this, they literally don't even know who we are. So we have to start there and then build, which is sad, but like that's why we're talking about, we're working on it. You know what I mean? We're gonna get our names out there. But I think it would be great to just start off with who we are and what we do, what we have been up to, things from like the state of campus address that Austin gave, like stuff like that, like, so they know what we're working on. But yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Does any other senators want to speak? Same.
Just to continue going off what Cam said, how about we have, instead of having to do like multiple people doing like an introduction video, we can have groups of people go. For example, all the at-large senators go together, all the senior, juniors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as in saying, hello, we are your at-large in the video. We are your at-large senators. Then they speak, they say their names, and then in the closed caption, we can have their email up there and things of that nature. And we just keep going on throughout the entire SGA to make it simple.
Saheem, would that be specifically, I don't know if I'm talking out of turn here, I apologize, but Saheem, would that be specifically for social media purposes or for like the email stuff / newsletter stuff?
Well, for the first newsletter, I think we should like introduce ourselves to make sure everybody knows the exact positions that everyone serves.
Right.
So, and then in that sense, we can have a link to our SGA UNCG.edu website.
Right. But no, like the videos of like, because I like what you're saying, and we've done something similar in the past where we've grouped like all the freshman centers together, sophomore centers together, and you give your spiel on like why you want to be an SGA, what you've been doing. But are you saying that needs to be specifically for
Social media.
that we have,
Yeah.
or for the? Yeah, I just wanted to.
Just clarify, yeah, social media. And if we don't want to do videos, we can just take a group photos of each class, and then in the caption, you can just have from left to right who the people are in the photo and their email.
Either way, I think it's a good idea. Photos, videos, whatever is more feasible for the individuals who will be working on that.
Thanks, Saheem. Thanks, Cam. Anyone else? All right, we could move out of Senator Forum if no one else has anything to say. Okay, now moving into announcements. Any member of SGA can speak for 2 minutes on anything they have. Gia?
All right, promise this is the last time I'm talking, but tomorrow night is the homecoming royal court contest. So please tune in, watch, see what everybody's doing, vote. I'll be there. Would love to see y'all watch the live stream. So yeah, please come out, like support your homecoming royal court. Thanks, y'all.
Jesse?
Just wanted to say great job, you guys. You did great with these last two pieces of legislation. I'm very proud. And this week's quote is, "We fall, we break, we fail, but then we rise, we heal, and we overcome." You're doing great, and we're almost at the end of the semester. So keep going.
Thanks for that quote, Jesse. Daniel? Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. So everybody, I am looking into starting a new club on campus. The main focus is going to be discussing the Armenian situation going on. If you're interested in learning more about it, feel free to hit me up. I'll put my email contact in the chat just to make things a little bit easier. The primary goal of it, too, as I've just said, was to discuss the Armenian history, the ongoing conflict between Azerbaijan, and to just try and increase a little bit more of the awareness locally, because we don't have any local legislators that are speaking about it. There was one representative, I believe, from Minnesota who recently published something concerning it, so we could have some U.S. sanctions against Turkey. But outside of that, there isn't a whole lot. So if you're interested, definitely let me know. Thank you.
Thanks for that information, Daniel. Irving?
So far, we only have 17 people who did their headshots. So I'm going to send out one more doodle poll for that. And if you're interested, just fill out the poll. Thank you.
Thanks, Irving. Austin, you can go if your printer is done being annoying.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who helped with the video. Y'all all did wonderful. I really do appreciate your cooperation, and definitely short timeliness. I don't know the best way to phrase that, but I appreciate y'all working so adamantly to help me get that done. So thanks, y'all.
Sorry, Kim, I kind of skipped you. You can you have something to talk to Irving about?
No, it's okay. I was just gonna type it in the group chat. I just wanted to know, but maybe this is a question everyone has. I don't know. But like, is it okay if we like already have headshots that you took of us from last session, if we could just rock with those, or did you want it to be uniform and everyone have the same ones that you're taking now?
I will ask Katie, the Secretary of Media Affairs. She asked me to do this. My personal opinion, if you already have one, you can use it. If you want a new one, I'll do it for free. If you don't have one at all, I'll do it for free again. So that's just my thought, but I'll ask Katie to be sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Irving. Is there anyone else for announcements? Going once, going twice. Wait. Anthony?
Yeah, I just got one word. Just vote, please. Whoever you want to vote for, I can tell you who, but let's make those assumptions who I'm saying. Just vote, please. Please, please, please.
I appreciate that, Anthony. I actually went and voted today alongside Saheem and Leslie. So definitely exercise your right to go vote. It definitely will make a difference, no matter who you vote for. Peyton.
One thing, I will stand in line with you if you don't want to go by yourself. I would really go, for real.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I know I've said before I'm serving as a poll observer, but if you experience any type of voter intimidation, excessive wait times, that kind of thing, ask to talk to somebody at your polling site because that's 100% something that's available to you. Most polling sites do not call law enforcement in those types of situations. I know that that is definitely sensitive and can induce fear. So that's not something that will happen. But if you are, experiencing any type of voter suppression, please ask to talk to someone. There's usually a judge present at polling locations, especially through early voting. But just to add on to that, like I know, like Anthony said, can't tell you who to vote for, but please vote. It doesn't fix everything, but it's a step in the right direction. So that, and then also Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez posted something after the last debate that really resonated with me. So I just wanted to share it with y'all. Just to paraphrase, she spoke on choosing one person in your life that you feel like you can get through to. So I know it's really easy to feel helpless, to feel like we're not, doing enough, or like, what can we do? But at the same time, there's always somebody that only you can get through to. So whether that's your elderly uncle, encouraging them to vote, or whether that's somebody in your life that's like, oh, I don't want to vote because I don't believe in that, or I don't think my vote counts or that it helps, you might be able to get through to that person. So have those tough conversations. It's easy to feel like you're not changing anyone's mind, but the people that are closest to you, you still have a chance. So yeah, I suggest doing that. Have those tough conversations. Yeah.
Also, to go off of what Anthony said, I apologize, Austin. If anyone doesn't feel like going by themselves, I am more than willing to come with you. Just let me know. Austin, you can go ahead.
So what I was going to say is that I told you all that I was going to go vote today at 2. That didn't happen. I wasn't able to. But I'm planning on going tomorrow at noon. So if you're looking for somebody to, go with, I will be definitely going then. I need to get it in as soon as I can. Just schedule hasn't worked out too well, but I will definitely be going tomorrow. So if you'd like to join me, definitely let me know. We can schedule a meet up somewhere, maybe get lunch after or something. That'd be cool. Post lunch voting. All right, thanks, y'all.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Asia, if you wouldn't mind doing a adjournment roll call.
It's done.
Thanks, Asia. I appreciate it. We will adjourn this meeting at 9:54 p.m. I do appreciate each and every one of your time tonight. We definitely had some really important discussion. I think that will definitely spark a change, and we definitely have to have a call to action to make sure that we do proceed with these things. So I definitely have a book full of notes that I will go through this week to make sure that our ideas are being heard and being addressed.